this event?
So basically, I've been part of the movement with Pesticide Reform. We've been traveling to the state for many years, fighting the big chlorpyrifos fight that thank God the state of California has taken great leadership on. But today, our main focus was the notice of intent, and it's something that we've been asking Commissioner Gonzalez for quite some time now. It's not going to take money out of his department. It's not going to take a lot of time. It's just simply asking him to ask the growers to give us a heads up. What's going to be sprayed at what time and where. Again, it's going to be on us as community members, as a mom, as a sister, as a teacher, to go in there on the links and check out what growers in my community are going to be spraying what. Again, we're thinking about all the kids that have asthma. We're thinking about our senior citizens. And it's just them posting that information and us taking it upon ourselves to look at the website.
Fantastic. And that's getting into my next question to you. What does this mean specifically for your constituents, so the city of Greenfield, right?
Oh my God, it means so much. The city of Greenfield has been affected highly. Chlorpyrifos was in our backyard for many years. There's a lot of things that come with chlorpyrifos, the aftermath of that chemical. So we know that that's not the first battle. We won that battle, but there's many more. So we just want to be a part of the conversation, and we want to ask what's right. I want my community to have a future, especially your little ones, to know that yes, you could be a doctor, you could be a teacher, but the first thing that I need to do as a leader to be able to help them accomplish that dream is to be able to fight the pesticides, to be able to at least have an alert system that we can know ahead of time. We don't want to know after it's been sprayed. We want to know before. So I, as a mom, can know what to do, or as a leader, send that message to my community. And my community, once again, we're surrounded by nothing but agriculture, so it's highly affected.
Yeah, very well said. Are there any last things you'd like to say?
All I want to say is we're out here outside the commissioner's office, Henry Gonzalez. I hope that he gets to watch this news conference, or at least my wish is that he gets to come outside and participate and at least start that conversation.
Hay gente muriendo. Hay niños, muchos niños que tienen problemas con su aprendizaje. Hay muchos con cáncer. Estamos robando sus vidas. Y sus padres campesinos no tienen dinero para comprar los servicios que se necesitan. ¿Qué cosa es esto? El rendimiento de las corporaciones no vale esta clase de tristeza, de enfermedades. Es horrible. Y lo menos que podemos hacer si no podemos parar en usar estos químicos es notificar a la gente para que ellos puedan protegerse. Eso es un crimen contra la humanidad.
Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Okay.
Just that one, right?
Hey. See if I can get your signs in there.
I've signed in.
I don't know. I asked Veronica.
No, okay. Getting loud. Let me know if you can't hear me.
Okay.
Sweet.
Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is the Stop Pesticide Secrecy Notification Now press conference. We will get started in just a couple of minutes. We're waiting for a few more arrivals, but many in our delegation have already joined us. And at this same moment, similar news conferences are starting in Bakersfield, Tulare, Modesto, and online to tell ag commissioners statewide to start web posting pesticide warnings. This is a statewide movement for the right to know.
Yes!
So this afternoon, you're going to hear from longtime community leaders, Demetrio Pruneda, the Center for Farm Worker Families, Dr. Ann Lopez, the UFW's Lauro Barajas, as well as Greenfield City Council member Yaneli Martinez. We are also joined today by members of Safe Ag, Safe Schools, Cesar Lara with the Monterey Bay Central Labor Council, current and retired activist teachers from AFT and PVFT, members of CSEA, our brothers and sisters from UFCW Local 5, as well as members of the UFW. And after this press conference, we will lead a delegation, our members will lead a delegation to the Ag Commissioner's office to demand both in person and in writing to begin web posting pesticide warnings. My name is Veronica Diaz. I'm an organizer with the Monterey Bay Central Labor Council, and I have the honor of emceeing the event today. And our first speaker is a community leader and an educator who has served our young people for many years as a teacher in our schools and later as a Hartnell College trustee, and for decades as an advocate for social justice, Demetrio Pruneda. Demetrio?
Muchas gracias, Verónica. Gracias por todos ustedes estar aquí. Thank you for being here. Farm workers, communities are coming together today all across California to disrupt a cruel pattern that we've seen play over generations concerning pesticides. A highly toxic chemical is used in the fields, often having its origins in the battlefields of war. Then our indigenous people and our farm workers tell us this pesticide harms more than the pest it's designed to. Today, May 27, happens to be the birthday of the late Rachel Carson, the famous science writer whose book Spring, Silent Spring in 1962 began to uncover the harmful secrets of pesticides for the general public. Rachel Carson made visible to the country what those who had worked directly with DDT already knew. The awful stuff caused many forms of long-term health damage. She warned that the pesticides DDT was creating great harm to the entire world. DDT's poison chained in our DDT's poison did not just kill insects, but damages spread up the food chain into our waterways and into our foods and into the air. DDT is still harming us. Generations later, almost all humans have DDT in our bodies. The granddaughters of those exposed to DDT have higher breast cancer rates. Many of our large predator birds remain endangered from DDT softened eggshells, and our oceans are polluted and sea life poisoned with countless tanks of buried and oozing DDT. Rachel Carson sought to stop the secrecy around pesticides and demand the right to know. Today, farm working communities and millions of concerned citizens are demanding right to know in advance of pesticides application so that we can take our own safety precautions. Now is the time for the masses to take bold action to stop this atrocity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Demetrio, for your powerful statement, for your powerful advocacy. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Ann Lopez, the Executive Director of the Center for Farm Worker Families. Dr. Ann, as she is known in the environmental justice movement, was chosen for a 16th annual Cesar E. Chavez Community Award Watsonville in 2018, and as Women of the Year by Assemblymember Mark Stone's 29th District for 2019, among many other honors. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming out today. I really appreciate it. Like this? Oh, okay, I hear it. Yeah, okay. farm worker community in both Salinas and Watsonville and the Pajaro Valley for many years. And one thing the farm workers have taught me is that being near fields, being near agricultural fields is very dangerous. There is plenty of scientific evidence supporting the fact that women and children especially are at risk, and there's many different diseases that are caused simply by living in the vicinity of an agricultural field, including cancer, Parkinson's disease, respiratory disease, learning disabilities, birth defects, and autism. What can justify this? Quite frankly, I am sick and tired of visiting farm worker families and finding out that they have 1, 2, or more children with ADHD, autism, learning disabilities, cancer. For God's sakes, I mean, and the parents as farm workers are the least able to provide them with the services that special needs children must have. Are corporate profits really so important that we sacrifice our children? Really? And basically these children have had their lives stolen from them. Most parents that I've talked to want their kids educated and out of farm work. They want them to have a career. How can you have a career if your brain doesn't work properly? Or if you're struggling with cancer and don't even know if you're going to survive? I just think this is the height of cruelty. It's a crime against humanity. 1 million pounds of pesticides dumped on Santa Cruz County in 2017. 1.5 million pounds of the carcinogen chlorpicrin dumped on 6,000 acres in Monterey County. How's anybody supposed to stay healthy with these pesticides flowing in the air and water and soil and who knows where else? If we can't stop using these pesticides, then the very least they can do is tell us when they're going to use them. We need the notices of intent. Yes. We have a right to know what we're being exposed to, when we're going to be exposed, and where we will be exposed. It's past time to have this information out there so we can protect our children and our loved ones from this scourge. So please support the NOIs. We must do something about this travesty. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ann. Very well said. Now I am honored to introduce the Regional Director of the United Farm Workers, Lauro Barajas. Lauro's union has been at the forefront of this struggle to reduce pesticide harms for over 60 years. Thank you for being here.
For me, it was my pleasure and honor to work with Dolores Huerta and met Cesar Chavez and work with a lot of other union leaders in the union. So Cesar Chavez always kept the very clear and strong fight against the pesticides. And although a lot of people don't know, but the first farm workers where we banned the DDT was workers that we had contracts with growers. Those were working conditions were negotiated with the growers, and basically that was a good example for the state to start the process of banning these pesticides. The other issue is that Cesar Chavez in the 1988 had a long fast of 36 days, basically protesting against pesticides. So again, this should not be a secret. We need to inform people of the danger wherever the companies are spraying the pesticides. I mean, I go to walk almost every day, and there's a field, and I can see the sign where they just put the pesticide. But there's other people that is not, they're not aware of these pesticides, and they just walk, pass by, and they're getting the pesticides. So this is very simple. People have the right to know where the companies, when the companies, and where they apply in the pesticides. So let's support this, all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for personalizing that as well. I know many of us in the community, both in Monterey, Santa Cruz, and San Benito counties, live very close, if not directly on fields, and how terrifying to not be able to know what time of day to go take a walk. Thank you again, Brother Barajas. Our next speaker is Greenfield City Council Member Yaneli Martinez. Council Member Martinez has been a leader in the statewide movement for pesticide reform for a long time. In Greenfield, Councilmember Martinez helped ban cancer-causing Roundup on city grounds and helped push through resolutions calling for the banning of brain-harming chlorpyrifos, and most recently for the Ag Commissioner to web post pesticide warnings. However, her efforts span beyond Greenfield, as Councilmember Martinez has made many trips up to Sacramento, often with children in tow, in the ultimately successful campaign to ban chlorpyrifos, which was covered internationally, including in interviews with Yaneli in the New York Times. Councilmember? Thank you, Veronica. Thank you, everybody who's out here today. You guys are making a movement, so stay strong. Estamos juntos en la lucha. Woohoo! And I also want to acknowledge true leadership. When you have true leadership present with the people, that sends a strong message. Trustee Kong back here with me from Greenfield. And more importantly, Supervisor Wendy Askew right there. That is a huge message. Gracias por estar presente. As Lauro said, this is a simple demand. We want Ag Commissioners to post on a website notice of intent to apply pesticides that growers submit. The growers will do nothing new. This requires not a second more of the work from the growers. We also think it means very little work for the Ag Commissioner's office. All they have to do is take the notice of intent and post it on county websites. Counties post public health related information every day. Just add pesticide application to that list. As Dr. Ann pointed out, we haven't been able to count on the state or Ag Commissioner to protect us from hazardous pesticides, right? The scientists also informed us that there are some protective measures we can take to reduce the chances that pesticides will harm us. We can close our windows, we can stay indoors, or at least keep the most vulnerable inside. We can keep the clothes off the line. We can avoid the areas where applications are going to happen now. The Ag Commissioners will only tell us afterward when the damage has already been done. That's not right. The simple demand for web posting pesticide application warnings has been made by regional elected officials, including my own very city of Greenfield, the heart of the valley, but also the cities of Soledad and Watsonville. School districts like Bajaro Valley Unified and Greenfield Union District have done the same. Today, community groups in Kern, Tulare, and St. Louis County are delegating their Ag Commissioners to demand an end to pesticide
secrecy. Just like us, right? These local campaigns have evolved in different ways, but are coming together to make the same point today. I'm waiting because this is an important message. We have vehicles, but this message is for Commissioner Gonzalez, who is right inside there. Maybe he could come out and join us. Right? Yes. Stop pesticide secrecy. Notification now. Se puede. Veronica, thank you.
Thank you so much for leading by example, Council Member. It is now my pleasure to introduce Karen Araujo, who has spent the last 2 or so decades of her life with the Monterey Bay Central Labor Council, and before that was a member of Unite Here. Most recently, Karen is with the Unitarian Universalist Social Justice Committee and just about every other social justice group in the region. And she is going to read a statement from Senator Bill Monning.
Thank you, sister. I bring words from retired Senator Bill Monning. Yes, an ally for many, many years. Dear friends, sisters, and brothers, I regret I am unable to join you today, but join you in spirit and solidarity in support of the call for transparency and public access to information regarding planned pesticide applications in Monterey County. For decades, we have fought on behalf of farm workers, rural residents, students, and teachers to win a landmark field posting ordinance and restrictions and bans on various dangerous chemicals. The call for public access to information regarding planned pesticide applications is one that is rooted in fundamental principles, those of public health protection and a public right to know. I applaud your presence, your persistence, and your commitment to our community's public health and safety. I'm going to say that again. I applaud your presence, your persistence, and your commitment to our community's public health and safety, towards health and safety for all, with great respect and in solidarity with all. Senator Bill Monning.
Thank you very much for reading that statement, Karen, and thank you to Bill Monning for standing in solidarity with the community. Before we close for questions, we should mention that the Department of Pesticide Regulation, otherwise known as DPR, has stated they are considering a process for a statewide pesticide notification system. However, DPR has said that before, in 2016, about fumigation notification, and immediately dropped those plans after one round of well-attended public hearings. If the governor's $10 million budget proposal for statewide pesticide notification survives the legislative process, that could give us more confidence, but even then, the proposed calendar stretches to July 2024 before we see any public notices. We need a statewide system that county ag commissioners can easily web post right now. There's no need to delay justice. Counties post public health related information every day, as Yaneli said. Just add pesticide applications to that list. Thank you. If you are watching this on YouTube or Facebook, or you'd like to help, please, you can do one of 3 things. The first is sign our Right to Know petition. Over 17,000 community members have signed so far. And you can find that petition at pesticidereform.org/notification. You can also contact your county ag commissioner and urge them to web post pesticide notifications of intent in advance of applications. And finally, you can urge your state legislators to approve the $10 million for pesticide notification in Governor Newsom's budget. And with that, I would like to pass it to my colleague Hector Calderon.
All right, great. Thank you, Veronica, and thank you for all the speakers that were here today to speak on behalf of, having the right to know on the information that we've been asking our ag commissioner. And so, Yaneli and the entire group, so if we can start lining up right here, we can begin to start walking towards the office and knock on their door and go inside and see if the ag commissioner will come out. So if you would like to follow Mark and Yaneli, that'd be great. Thank you.
don't you want to stop a line so people can? Yeah, and stay in the sun. Stay in the sun. Get a lot better picture in the sun. All right. Come on. Where goes that?
Let's wait.
Whoa.
We got a call. Come on over. Please call us at...
What is it now, 12?
What time is it?
12:30.
Half hour?
Okay, so everybody, here's what happened. They never closed for lunch. We've been here during lunchtime. They've been open. So why do you think they closed for lunch today?
That's a hard business.
Where are my taxes going? Exactly. So some people might still be inside. So maybe we should let them know with a chant, which is kind of famous, right? It's "We'll be back." Right? And we are going to send this letter that you all signed to them and make sure all the media gets to see it as well. That's right. I guess we'll be back. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. We'll be back! 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 Yeah! We'll be back! Closing words? Yeah, thank you everyone for being here. I know that we are also on live, and there's a bunch of other coalition members from other parts of the state. So they're all watching you. We actually haven't caught up yet. We're at the very end of the talk, so hopefully if you guys are still sticking around, they'll still be able to see you guys. But yes, thank you for all of you showing up today. To show your solidarity, and also the fact that we want the right to know about the information that we've been asking our ag commissioner. So thank you again, everyone, and we'll be also submitting that letter to him as well. So just so that you guys know now. Thank you. Si se puede. Si se puede. Si se puede. Si se puede.
If we have those cases, then we can have our children, our students, and our staff go inside when they're spraying, those days they're spraying. We have many children, a number of our children have respiratory illnesses, they cough, and this is due to the pesticides that are being sprayed near the schools.
Okay, and then what would you like people to understand? Because there's a lot of people who don't live near the fields, so they don't have that experience. So what people have told you, or what have you seen, in the community?
Well, many people everybody should be aware of pesticide, because the pesticide is not just in the field. They spread, and it could be those pesticides could spread for miles. So you think you're not live in the field, they're a field, and you're okay, but you're not, because the wind's blowing south if you live in the South Monterey County, and then you're going to get a lot of pesticide. And I'm also a resident of Greenfield, and I have to say I live near a field, not next to the field, but I have the pesticides are so strong. I have very few insect problems. There's very few insects that living things are alive because of all the constant pesticide spraying in the fields.
And then anything else you would like to say?
For all the people listening, please call your or email or send messages to your local agriculture commissioner and ask them to post the notifications on their website.
And then can you tell me again your full name and then can you spell it for me?
Sure, my name is David, the last name is Conk. It's D-A-V-I-D, last name is Conk, K as in K-O-N-G, and I'm a school board member for the Greenfield Union School District.
One family that I worked with, half the family, the father and the daughter, ended up at Stanford for Christmas because she had just been diagnosed with blood cancer, and they had moved recently near a field to save rent. Also families with children with ADHD. So farm workers come home tired at night and they've got these children that are bouncing off the walls, and they really can't afford to pay for special services that might help their children. Autism spectrum, learning disabilities. I know a family with 2 children and they have to go to a special school because they're so out of control they can't be with a normal class of 6th graders, for instance. So I am sick and tired of seeing these stolen childhoods of these children. I think it's unethical in this country. I mean, what kind of people are we? You have to ask yourself, these are children. How low can you go to rob them of their lives? It's terrible. So that's why I'm here today, to speak on behalf of these families and children and the suffering they experience. This is inexcusable.
Right, well said. And well, now we're just wrapping up. How do you feel like the rally went? Are you happy with how it went? Do you think you could have gone better?
I am happy, but I think that the agricultural commissioner Martinez should have been here to be with us and explain why we can't have the notices of intent publicized on the internet. We have a right to know. So that was the only thing that wasn't good. Although it's not unexpected, I have to say.
Right, and is there any last things you'd like to add?
Yes, I want everyone in the public to know this issue about farm workers. Call your senators, call your representatives, tell them to handle this situation so everybody knows what, when, and where these pesticides are going to be used and can protect themselves.